it's too lonely ऐसे तो. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, fine. 20% पे जल्दी कर लो.
Hi. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast. I'm Labika and I'm Astha's friend. And a couple of weeks ago, Astha called me up. Actually, she texted me on WhatsApp and she just said, do you want to record something with me? And I wasn't sure what it was. But I was like, yeah, sure. Let's see. Let's see what it's going to be like. And then she called me a couple of days later telling me that she wants to start this podcast. And that's the beginning of this series that we're trying to accomplish.
Zero decks given. That's the whole point of it, right? But hi, I'm Astha. I have spent the last 4 to 5 years of my life building WrittenlyHub, crafting different brands, stories, building their narratives. But here's something that happened. While I was busy doing all of that, somewhere in the middle, I think I lost track of building my own. So I think this podcast is a way for me to fix that.
Yeah.
One story at a time.
I mean, that's the whole point, right? You need something of your own and, that's where you actually shine the brightest. Even if you're going to build WrittenlyHub by yourself, where are you in WrittenlyHub? And I think this podcast is a great way of showing who you really are. And when it comes to me coming and joining you on this podcast, I think that's just friendship. We just want to have a good time, grab a couple of drinks and talk about our weeks. Let's start with the obvious question. Why did you press record now? And why now? And why did you drag me into this?
To be very honest, it was stemming from overwhelm and isolation. You've seen me. You've been there throughout this journey, even if it's from the outside. Building a business, it consumes all of you, like a lot of you, right? So there's barely any distinction between day and night or like a Monday and a Friday. If I'm into something, I'm really into it. And the downside of that is while all of that's happening, there's not much space or room to go out, build more friendships. Networking had somehow become more about, talking to investors or just sort of discussing business and everything. But I think there's just so much in my head because I am that creative person. I am someone who's always filled with ideas, even while I'm in the shower or while I'm making my morning coffee. But I think it was time to just finally let all of that out in some way. And I think that's what just made me think that, you know what, let me hit Labika up and let's get into it.
I mean, when you're talking about friendships, that's where low maintenance friendships come from. Right?
Yeah.
Because you didn't have the time to start making new friends, but you also didn't have the time to invest that much in your friendships because you were so occupied with what you were building. And that's what, having that passion and drive is all about. And that's actually incredible, right? We were in Bangalore for 3 years together and we met like a handful of times. I can count the number of times I met you.
Yeah, that is
5 times. But, it's all worth it because, all that matters in the end is you need to be satisfied with what you are. And it's amazing. Like me looking at you from the outside, it's been incredible. But, success looks different from the outside as to what it looks like from the inside, right? So what is that all about?
Okay, nice question. I mean, entrepreneurship or rather like just if you're building anything, you have to be unique. You have to think something different. You have to always sort of rack your brain to come up with something out of the box, or even if you don't want to come up with something that's out of the box, even if your idea is probably same as the other service businesses out there are going to be different challenges throughout, right? And the whole point is that while I'm a person who loves breaking all the rules, being different throughout, it also comes with its very big major challenge, which is the more unique you are, the lesser people you have to guide you or come up with a solution that would fix it for you, right? So coming up with those solutions, maybe sometimes at 4 a.m. or I don't know, while making my breakfast, that is what success feels like for me. And because, see, I mean, let's face it, when it comes to building something, you need people, you need a team. And there's just so much of dependency on you throughout. Like, there's this, it's not someone else's pressure. It's my own head telling me that, Astha, every decision that you make, it's going to affect 30 different people, right? And that can come with a lot of responsibility. So, yeah, I think it does get exhausting from time to time. And some days, even successes don't really feel like successes just because of how your state of mind might be at that point.
But it's not always about winning, right? It's about having that luxury to go through these motions, like the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
And the freedom to make these choices.
True.
And a little bit of power.
For sure.
And power.
For sure, power.
Anything you do will affect an army of people.
Yeah. I mean, with power comes the right side of vulnerability or, like I said, the pressure of the situation. And you are quite right about what success feels like. I know a lot of my peers, obviously when we got out from college, people were in different races. You know, there are people who went out for doing their masters. There are people who set out to join Big Fours. And then there I was, sitting in my room with Red Bulls at night and then just thinking. Like literally most of my time was spent thinking. But I think now that I look back, for all of that, stress that came with it, thrill that came with it, more than that, all those endless sleepless nights and all those rants from parents that you don't have time for us. I think overcoming all of that and still sticking through to this and being here today, like 4 years down the line, that is what success pretty much looks like, in my opinion.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage to break free from, you know, the race that pretty much everyone in your class was, you know, running towards, that ultimate goal of, I don't know what it is actually, becoming a vice president at a Big Four, I guess. But yeah, it takes a lot of courage to build something on your. So I think I have this question, and most people who are watching will also have this question. And knowing you, I know there's a story behind this. So 0 decks given. Why this name?
Let me ask you this. Who is it that decided that entrepreneurs have to sound like walking TED talkers all the time?
Podcast bros like us.
I mean, why is it that there's just so much of pressure, and why does someone have to come off like they have their investment deck ready, pitch deck ready all the time, or any time that you see them is actually in networking events and nowhere else, right? We get tired. And I think it was time for me to recognize that, acknowledge that, and maybe along the way find people who are also feeling the same way and put that out. Instead of putting out that perfect image of, okay, this is what I offer, this is what I'm up to, etc. I wanted to put out a no bullshit version of it, something that is messy, imperfect, and just there. So giving 0 decks is actually just releasing the pressure and valuing yourself for being the imperfect you that you are. So technically a mix of don't give any fucks and just be who you are. That's pretty much where it's coming from.
Fair enough. So this is like therapy, but make it public. If you're getting it right. Fair enough.
Yes, fair. For sure. Because I think this is what that's going to look like. It will not be a dump from my side for sure, but it will be me talking about my thoughts without any filters. Sharing the struggles that I'm having, sharing the things that I have learned along the way. And just more than that, maybe my version of building new friendships in a bigger community rather than just, I don't know, keeping you as my one and only friend.
Yeah, the pressure is too much. I get it. I'm also under a lot of pressure, being your one and only friend.
Yes, but you tell me, what is it that made you say a yes for doing this?
Honestly, being your one and only friend is part of the reason why I said yes, but also we work together, and every time we've collaborated on something, if it's work related or if it's not work related, it's always been fun and exciting. And I live in Bangalore, if I don't have a podcast, am I actually living in Bangalore? It's a rite of passage. But doing it with you is actually a really fun experience for me because I know I will have fun and I know we will do something creative. If it works out, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter because I know it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to be easy because we talk.
We talk, yes. And we needed a way to talk it all out.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to be seeing me on every weekend now and not just once in 3 months.
That was also part of the appeal because I have been chasing you down for months and at least this way I can see you every weekend.
Yeah, that is.
And grab drinks with you.
Okay.
So,
cheers to that.
cheers to that. Okay. So, Asa, are you up for an activity?
You see, my notes are gone, so I'm definitely ready because I don't know what it has, but it's going to be fun.
Okay, so just to give you an idea, we're going to do a rapid fire round. I'll ask you 5 questions and you have to answer with 5 words or less. I mean, ballpark.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, are you ready?
As ready as I can be.
Fair.
I feel like very coffee with Karan in this moment, but okay.
Fair enough. But okay, I'll just start with the questions. Okay. First question is, what is the most expensive business mistake you recently made?
Oh God. Leading the finance operation of the company without knowing jack about finance. I'm sorry about it, Saksham, if you're watching this.
Fair enough. Okay. It was 5 words or more, but it's fine. I love the tea. So we're going to continue. What's the weirdest place you've worked from?
Oh God. Back in college, outside my exam room, just 2 minutes before the exam starts.
How did the exam go?
I don't remember, but I remember how the client call went.
That's what makes you a true CEO. Okay. Next question. What's the biggest fake it till you make it moment?
I don't fake it. It's always on point, real, as messy as it can be, as stupid or as, just me. No, no fake
I
it.
love that. Okay. Next question. What's the best work task that you actually enjoy?
Anything creative direction, whether it's setting up processes or, I don't know, just making a strategic decision, but creative.
I love it. Okay. For my last question, what's one business advice that you actually abide by?
Oh, it was actually given to me yesterday, but also it has been given to me like 5 other times by Saksham itself. He tells me that 2 plus 2 need not always be 4 because I decide what it's equal to and I got to believe my own truth. He actually told me you can make cauliflower a grape and still be okay with it and accept it as your truth. I think I will follow that. I try to follow that.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You've done a great job on this rapid fire round. I have so many more questions, but we'll wait for the next rapid fire round. Maybe next time a little more high stake.
Okay, cool. I'm in.
So I want to go back a little bit and get a little personal. I want to know how this whole journey started and give me all of the messy details. Spill the tea. Spill it.
I'll keep it super honest here. It was no extravagant idea that brought about this particular company. It was simply 2 main reasons, actually. One, I wanted to be different. I've always been that person. Even back in school, I was like that. But more than that, when I came to college, I just felt, sure, there was like a big enough campus. I was away from home, chilling, spending time with friends, learning about new people. But college was still quite limited, like you go to college, you listen to a couple of lectures, you bunk some, and then you're back. But what after you're back? I noticed everyone around me getting involved in maybe hostel gossip, doing practically nothing, bed rotting after you're back. I didn't want to do that. So that was my reason number 1. And my second reason was I actually just wanted to have more and more parties and sort of like add more color to my college life. And what better way to do that than to earn some yourself apart from affording rent that your parents can help you with. So yeah, that was practically it.
Fair enough. It completely makes sense. And I'm so surprised to know that this wasn't some grand vision that you had, like you're sitting in a room watching 4 a.m. billionaire routine videos on Instagram. It just felt like that. And honestly, when you talk about how having more parties and making enough money to sort of, do a little better than, the other things, I started working at WrittenlyHub like that. I wanted to make a little bit of extra cash. I remember that's how the whole, being involved and growing personally and gaining experience started for me as well. And I completely relate to that. Just because I just feel like I do not have the sheer balls to go ahead and start a company and affect 30 people at once. I just felt like limiting myself was not it. I wanted to move ahead. And, I completely understand where this is coming from.
Exactly. But no, I think you are gutsy enough to go ahead and do something like that. I mean, I've seen you plenty do that throughout. I don't know. You've grown up, Labika. Come on. When you joined WrittenlyHub, it wasn't the same story.
17.
Yes, you were 17 when you joined WrittenlyHub. I'm just so glad we weren't involved in child labor, because that's what you were.
Saved my rights off. It's okay. Sold my soul.
Yeah, but yes, that's exactly what it was. It was a very simple experiment.
Yeah.
Okay. Saksham, for those of you who don't know, he's my co-founder in the company. So Saksham reached out to me and he told me that, you know what, why not start something together? And then he gave me like bare minimum details, because
as Saksham does.
Yeah, exactly. Going on impulse is his way to go. So he reached out to me, he said that, and obviously knowing Saksham, I laughed it off. But then I realized that he was super serious and determined about it, and that's when I gave it some thought. I was like, let me sleep over this. It did need some convincing here and there, but then I thought it through and I was like, you know what? I'm up for this experiment. I really want to just get into it. And this is something that I want you to know, and for probably the 10 people watching this to know, that sometimes the best things happen when you're not trying to build the best thing. WrittenlyHub was that for me. It did not start out as, I want to be number one at this. It started out as an experiment, and along the way, I was good with it. It reached a point where I was like, you know what? I got placed from my college, but I'm going to leave that. It was, of course, some restriction with my family and everything, but yeah, it was like a no-brainer decision for me. And I think that is the best thing that has happened to me so far. And obviously, hopefully, will be definitely one of the best things that happens to me throughout as well.
I've seen it. I've seen you grow as a founder. And, when you were working as well, it was really inspiring to see how you were breaking free from these norms, like even when your parents thought that having a day job would be a more stable and sustainable way to grow as a person, you actually broke free from that. And I'm still in awe of how you did it. But I just want to know how, being a founder has changed for you. And if not yet, do you still think you're figuring things out, or have you figured it out? When did it start feeling like you figured it out?
Not until now. I'll tell you when it does. But as of now, as of today, I am still figuring it out. I mean, there are days when I'm up 7 a.m. feeling the CEO energy on my laptop, doing things one by one, etc. And then there are days where I am just creative, lost soul, trying to solve one problem that I've been fixated on for days. Like, that's literally just me. And I still do have moments, like there have been a couple of times where I've met people and they've been like, okay, this is one of the most sorted founders I know. And in my head, I'm constantly thinking, really? I'm the same person who cried over pasta just last night, So that is what it is. I am still messy. I am still I am still the person who cries at night on days when I can't figure something out. So yeah, that's the thing. And if you need like a little more glimpse into my personality, you will find me making good strategic decisions in the morning. But by the time it hits evening, I am Googling things like best air fryer girl dinner ideas. So, well, yeah, it's a mix of both.
You know what? Pasta makes me try too. but only if it's not cooked well. So I completely relate to that. But I see how the duality is from morning to evening. Like, you start with that boost of energy and, you're like, I'm going to conquer the day and I'm going to do whatever it takes. But by the time evening rolls around, you're just like, am I doing anything right? I think that's like a constant. And it's so nice to see that someone who looks like who has their, life together, who has their shit together on the outside, also goes through these emotions that everybody generally goes through. And when it comes to these best air fryer recipes that you're Googling on, a quiet, nice evening, I'm pretty sure someone from WrittenlyHub has written them, because I am sure I've written one article or listicle that says something about best air fryers or best air fryer recipes 2025. I know that.
You know what? Surprisingly, I do think that could be very, very true. Yeah. Maybe I should shift from doing those Google searches to actually utilizing my morning scrums to ask if anyone has a good recipe I can try out.
Yeah, your team is definitely super talented and they'll probably have a billion recipes that they've already gone through. ठीक है, I understand. ये air fryer girl dinner और ये scrum meetings में सब पूछना is तो all right. But I also know one thing about you, which I think a lot of people would want to know about. I know you journal a lot, like a crazy amount. So, is that a way for you to process all of this and, straighten out these lines in your head on a notebook? Is that what journaling does for you?
Exactly that, actually. It's pretty much my morning ritual. I don't commit to it on 100% of the days, but a good chunk of days, you will find me doing that the first thing in the morning. In fact, remember I was telling you the other night, I have a very strict no Instagram policy for myself. And
I don't know how you do that. I would not.
It has really been something that has changed it up for me, This thing I came across, which was about you should always create before you consume. Because the moment you consume something, your brain starts thinking on that note, okay? And somehow your brain stops coming up with OG ideas. So I want my OG Astha ideas to be front and center in everything that I do, which is why I don't use Instagram first thing in the morning. I wake up, I will do my basic stretches, work out whatever's on the cards or whatever's on the mood board that day. But after that, I will sit with my journal and see, most people, I think, they take journaling to be this very secluded activity wherein everything's charted out. You have like a good number of prompts to answer, things like that. For me, it's not like that. I personally believe it in whatever works for you, you do that. So you do you, which is why there are days when my journal looks like this artsy with paints, sketch pens, everything. Those are not my working days, by the way. It's probably over a Sunday. But
I don't think Saksham's listening. You can tell us.
No, I mean, yeah, it's not something I generally am up for, like on a work day, on a Monday morning for sure. But I do that over the weekends. But I think during the week, when I really need an outlet for that burst of thoughts that's happening, I will just scribble something. Like, it's the messiest handwriting you would have seen. So I actually have a pretty journal and I have like a rough scribble journal for myself.
That's such an aesthetic thing to do. Aesthetic. And then, actual real shit.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the thing. The aesthetic ones, of course, has like different doodles here and there. Just maybe like my softer thoughts coming out. Sometimes they do turn into darker ones as well by the end. But that's the whole point of journaling, right? And then there's the messy one where it's just literally me scribbling down 2-3 bullet pointers or whatever. It's just that I need an outlet to process all the mess that's going on. And trust me, there's a lot. Like, there is hours and hours of mess that happens at work every single day. It's thoughts about people. It's thoughts about certain decisions that I have to make. It's thoughts about, I don't know, what color outfit I want to wear next weekend. It could be anything.
That's important.
Exactly. And I journal all of it. Like, I'm a very avid journaling person. And I think it's pretty much a part of my personality by now. So yeah, if I have to like sum it up for you, I collect stories like people collect shoes. So that is my version of it.
But you do have a lot of cute shoes also. So
true, fair. But I still like to think that collecting stories is my real addiction.
There's no rehab for that. So I'm glad there isn't.
Cheers to that.
So, Asa, I've been to your house and I know that you are a very clean and meticulous person when it comes to keeping your spaces clean. Even though the mess is all in your head.
Yes.
And you love embracing the mess. I do too. And I literally create chaos everywhere I go. But, all I can do is just create it. I don't know how to manage it, but I'm just owning it. So what about your chaos? How do you manage it? What's the chaos all about?
Actually, you've pretty much summed it up for me. I am a very meticulous person. Yes, my space is very nice, clean. That's how I like looking at it. But in my head, it's the complete opposite. It's the biggest mess that you can imagine. And sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes it comes out at work as well. Okay? I mean, the things creating the mess are my work as well, because there are some clients that I have that make me literally want to pluck my hair out. There are those crisis days, I like to call it like that. I have those crisis days.
Like putting on fires and all in the office.
Putting out fires, yes, but more than outside, I think it's an internal thing as well. Like, I think it was just day before yesterday that I rang up Saksham right after a morning meeting, and I'm like, you know what? I don't even know what I'm good at by this time. There are days where I forget what I do best, why I am in the position that I am. There are still days where I question about whether I'm whether I'm meant to be this CEO of this company that has to do such great things, whether I'm built for it and things like that. In my heart and head, I know that I'm not a quitter. So that is something that is there. There's also this part that I know about myself that I will break any rules that I have to. I'm not zero decks given. It stands true there.
That's where it comes.
Right, exactly. So I am that person. But I do have my doubtful days. I do have those days where I need just a little pick me up personality around me in terms of maybe like you. I've rang you up on certain nights and been like, you know what? I'm just so meh about everything that's happening. And then there are days wherein I'll probably schedule a really good... I schedule a couple of team catch-ups on the days I'm feeling low on energy, because I know that my team needs it too. So it's like my maternal instinct just suddenly comes alive when I'm on a call with a teammate, because instantly I'm in that headspace that I need to make them feel good. I need to make sure that they're feeling happy, positive at work, etc. So my mood changes. So that's it's a secret that I have in my head. Well, not so much a secret anymore, but...
Because we're in therapy now. Doctors in session.
Yes, so that's how I overcome it. And because I think it simply happens because there are still days when I will have a 40 to-do pointer list on a single 11-hour work day at best. So yeah, that's
a chill day. That's an easy day, right?
That's an easy day.
That's an easy day. Wow. I can imagine. But that's also a great part of being a female CEO, right? That nurturing, that power that comes in, right? That you're using that power to make sure that everything around you is in harmony. Everything is good and it's growing the way it should.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. But you also keep talking about experiments. I know, every time I talk to you, you tell me about something new that you're trying or whatever. It has to be an experiment. So was all of this an experiment too? Is there a story behind experiments?
Okay, I'm going to do this with an example.
Okay.
You tell me something that you picked up new and tell me if you followed through with it.
Which one? This week, today, last hour ago?
Whatever's your favorite one to talk about. Whatever's your favorite one to talk about.
So, I'll just give you something very recent. Last week, I went for a bachata class and I was like, oh my God. Bachata is the best thing ever. I want to dance. I want to go for these socials, dance socials that happen in Bangalore. And I will do this every week. I'm going to become the best bachata dancer. Never went for a second class. Went for a trial class. Didn't go for a second class. So, yeah, that's just one thing. And if I tell you today, I thought I will start drinking amla juice in the morning, every morning. Did not even start. Just in my head.
So, do you get it? Do you understand the difference? Because in the way you portray it, I'm not even saying something new. You put it as that you want to become this best bachata dancer, and that's why you're doing it. It's not an experiment anymore, right? You're doing it to achieve something, right?
Right. Yeah, I have an end goal in mind.
Exactly. So you are by default signing yourself up for either it's going to be a massive success or it's going to be that big a failure that I won't even go for a second class. Leave alone maybe, I don't know, trying it out for a month.
Don't call me out like that.
That is exactly what it is. So it's my way of flipping it up.
Right.
Okay? Because the moment you call something an experiment, you have automatically let go of all the barriers, all the weight, all the pressure that comes with it. Because suddenly you are doing it for fun. You're treating things like it's your playground. You're just going to go have fun. And I think that is, and it's not just I think situation. It's a tried and tested thing for me. That is when the best creative self comes out, right? Your brain is most free because you are not hindered by others' expectations or things like that. You know, you just treat things as they're an experiment. You're not scared of doing it anymore because you're like, you know what? Whether it fails, whether it succeeds, or I drop it somewhere in the middle, it's pretty chill because it's just an experiment. Nothing's happening about it. And that just completely switched it up for me and just changed how I approach things.
Right. So basically, when I do these bachata classes or like pottery classes or whatever, like an average Bangalore corporate girly, whatever I do on a weekend, it's just me setting myself up for failure because I have like an end goal in mind. I'm not doing it just for the fun of it. So that's what you're trying to tell me. And yes, I completely understand the weight of expectations is so much, right? From school days. Like, you know, if you're an athlete, you have to be the best athlete. If you're, giving 10th boards, you have to score 90 above. And like the expectation, the pressure of having these expectations around you, not just of yourself, but of your parents or everyone around you, it just weighs you down. And obviously it affects your performance in every way. So yeah, maybe I will experiment. I will try experimenting this week and I will keep you posted. I will tell you.
I will ask you in the next episode for sure what you experimented with. And maybe I'll just give you a little push to go for that second class or whatever you pick up.
Fair enough. But yeah, so when you do these experiments, of course, you don't care about how they succeed, how they fail. You just do it like with full passion and with full energy. You just drive into it, right? Head on. Was WrittenlyHub also one of these experiments or were you actually aiming for something when you started?
No aim, buddy. Just party money. There was no aim whatsoever. I mean, the aim was to make bucks. That time, that was the aim. There was no other
as a college student.
Of course. There was no secondary goal or... I mean, it was ambitious for sure because that time also I remember bunking classes and taking up a client call or I don't know, just submitting the final delivery right before entering the exam room. That has been the part of the game. Not going to deny that. But yes, it was definitely an experiment because if I had told myself that, Astha, you are going to build this one big ass venture or things like that, or like you're going to be number one in these many years.
Forbes 30 under 30.
Forbes 30 under 30, yes. If I would have thought about that back in college when I was just trying to go for a very small goal, trust me, I would have been paralyzed and probably would have not continued it for the second month.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's really hard. And there's this grit that you need to show up the next moment, the next week, the next month, the next year, right? But if I had tied, it's like I wanted to be free of as much weight as possible. So I threw all of the expectations aside. I didn't even tell my parents that I was going to start.
I know that.
Yeah, it was like
so
just
scary.
winging it. It was just winging it, starting with it as an experiment. And when it reached a point where GST had to be and my account and my tax numbers was going to be, put up, and my dad obviously had to look at it, that's when the talk came where I had to tell my parents that, you know what, this is where I feel that, come on, I'm filing taxes. I can leave my full-time job and be at it, you know? So that was the whole idea behind it. Definitely an experiment. Wouldn't qualify it as anything else.
Fair. I mean, that's how you reach where you are today. And it's always been like a one day at a time thing, right? It's not like a 5-year goal that, by the end of this year, I want to be like, whatever, Forbes 30 under 30 or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's always been one day at a time. You know that end of March, you need to file your taxes and your dad's going to look at all of these things. So you need to make sure you have that conversation with him. But, as far as I know, they took it well. They're very supportive now. It's all...
Yeah, they are. They are super supportive. There was this battle that happened, like a prolonged battle, I would say, because it was also like over call.
Yeah, because you were...
Yeah, I was in a twin city. Yeah, I was in Bangalore, right? So it was over call, but then when I went home, they saw me working, etc. And then there was this click moment, I think, that happened where my dad was like, you'll take care of your health now. Like, if you go with this, you'll pakka se do everything and keep yourself sane as well, right? I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that. And that was my moment of changing it up. I was like, yeah, of course I'll do it. And you won't believe it. I said yes to my dad. I walked into my room.
Yeah.
I resigned from a full-time job. That very moment, yes. Okay, so that was pretty much it. I think that's the journey from it being an experiment to it now actually having a 5-year vision. But yeah, let's put it like that.
It starts off as an experiment so that, you can get a hang of it and you don't let the weight of expectations bring you down. So I understand. When you're starting something, you definitely started as an experiment. That's what my takeaway is.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have one more thing to ask you. Now that we've talked about all of these experiments that you do, is this also an experiment? Am I a lab rat? Is this what it is?
You're not a lab rat. Okay, let me put it this way.
Okay.
It's a weekend. It's a weekend brunch at a fancy place.
Oh, yeah.
And we're doing it over this. What do you think it is?
Honestly, if you ask me, I get it. I see it. We're having fun drinks. We're having fries. We're chilling. We're talking. And I feel like this is my way to catch up with you, but also it's very value adding to me because I'm learning so much more. I've always seen you as someone who tells me new things and teaches me new things. And this is a great way for us to catch up and talk in person and, get that sort of exposure and network.
Yeah.
As a Bangalore girl would say.
Okay.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah, fair. So, okay, the way I would want to put it as it's a way to network, but it's an anti-networking approach because I'm not talking with a stranger. I'm talking with this beautiful co-host of mine. I'm talking with someone who I'm comfortable with. It's a complete no BS talk.
Fair.
It is about the mess and not... So it is literally like BTS of what happens when you run a business, right? And like you called it, it is like public therapy or public journaling because I'm not trying to get something from people. It's actually about me sharing my journey, my roadblocks, my challenges, my stories, my wins also, of course, along the way. And just those in-betweens that often get missed out, when I'm doing my business on a day-to-day basis or when I'm having client conversations. This is my space to do all of that because as much as there is client data fed into my head permanently or as much as there's what's happening with our finance team in my head, there's also this other side that literally just wants to break free. And I think I want this podcast to be a way, to be a mode for me where I can break free. I'm pretty sure you will make me do that. Well, because one, this, second, you, and third, this nice, beautiful setting. Networking, yes, but I think that's a little, you know me, just going out of the box situation. So it's more about the anti-networking way of connecting with people. I don't have time to go make new friends. I don't have time to, just do a lot of other things as well.
I go to bachata class. And
go to bachata class, yes. I don't have time to go to bachata class. But for now, I think I'm going to treat this as my main mode of expression. Okay? This is my new experiment. It's a new anti-networking approach that I want to take towards building a community. This is the moment I'm hoping that at least 10 people are watching what I'm saying at the moment. But yeah, and I think as you called it, it's a way of therapy, a therapeutic friendly talk, public journaling.
Yeah.
Yes, public journaling, right? Me sharing my messes, me sharing my wins, me sharing the in-betweens, those behind the camera moments that usually happen. Not usually, it's actually part of every single business that is running. But somehow it's the lesser talked about moment. And I want that to be the highlight reel, because I think my life has been more outtakes that have somehow become the main feature. So I think that's what I would want to keep it as.
Outtakes that have become the main feature.
Yeah.
I think that's perfect, because I feel like that's what the podcast, this episode of this podcast is all about. We should call it that. We should definitely call it Outcast that became the main feature.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because it will be about my thoughts.
Yeah.
It will, the unhinged thoughts, the unsolicited opinions that I have about how to deal with clients, how to run a business, how I have run my business. I'm not going to propagate here as a leader, but more about, actually in my company also, I am that one approachable, friendly person that they come to.
Like a good cop, bad cop situation.
Good cop, bad cop. I mean, yeah, you can take it as Sashram is the bad cop, obviously. Yes. So given that I'm the good cop and everybody, but it's not like I'm playing to be a good cop.
But you
yeah, I am the good cop, right? So that is what it is. It is going to be what a good cop personality looks like. It is going to be about what opinions are like when it comes to running the business actually, and not something that you just go and say that is going to become like a Forbes quote, right?
I have one last thing to ask you. Given that we're pretty much done with today's segment, what's the one thing that you want people to walk away with today?
If I have to put it as one single thing, even though I hope they took away all the snippets as well, but one single thing to walk away with would be permission. Permission to be messy, to be themselves, to be open to building an okay thing and not a best thing, and turning it into something revolutionary throughout, along the way. I think that's what I want people to walk away with, to go for more bachata classes, to treat more of their things as experiments, and to just give themselves the permission to give an outlet to their brain and to just be themselves. I think that'll be the takeaway for this.
That's amazing. I mean, that's what my takeaway has been. And I really like that. But yeah, it's not an okay thing. I would like to point that out. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's chaos. It's messy, but it somehow runs. It somehow works so well, like in perfect harmony. And that's what I think what you've built is like. That's what it looks like to the person on the outside. I know it's difficult on the inside, but that's what it looks like to me on the outside. But yeah, speaking of all of this chaos, I think I have had a great time on this brunch today. So this brunch date has been amazing. I'm so glad I finally got to, hang out with you on the weekend and actually talk about this stuff, even though we have, people looking at us, I'm sure more than 10. So don't worry about that. And I can't wait for more of this chaos to come out in the most beautiful way possible, and more people to see what you truly are like apart from your LinkedIn posts.
Yeah.
To see your LinkedIn beyond the LinkedIn. Right. That's what we're trying to achieve. And yeah, it's been amazing. And cheers to that.
Cheers to that. And thank you. We'll be back with more chaos, more mess, and just more unfiltered weekend brunch conversations.
You can count on us.